Greetings, everyone. My name is Tony Holowitz, and thank you for being here for this Act tutorial. In this tutorial, I want to talk to you about what I consider something very practical. Let's make an assumption that you like to call your customers on a regular basis. Well, the reality is there's sort of two types of customers in your database. There's the customers you've never called, and there's the customers you've called but haven't called in a given amount of time. And I like to use 90 days as an example. So the first thing I'd want to know is who are all the customers that, according to ACT, I have never called. And let me give you a little bit of background on this. I'm going to navigate away from this group, and I'm going to go click on Contacts right here. I'm on a particular contact, and I want to call your attention to the Call Reach field. Now, when I work with my clients, I take out the Call Attempt field, and let me tell you why I do that. I just take it right out of the layout because I don't want to be part of the discussion. My experience has been that when you call someone, 80% of the time you're probably going to leave a message. 19% of the time, even higher, let's call it 20%, you will end up speaking to that person. So it's rare. Most of the time you're going to leave a message. So regardless of whether you spoke to them or left a message, you've called them, you've reached out. It's rare when you don't reach someone. So having said that, if I were to call this person, Steve Reese, I would come up and click on History. When History pops up, I can create a record and I can say, listen, I want the call to be completed. And just so you know, behind the scenes, you can set this to the default. So that always pops up. You don't have to keep changing that. And I'm going to just simply click OK. I'm not going to put any other information in. But at this point, I want to draw your attention to the Call Reach field. It has today's date in it. So it's relevant that you have a date. It's relevant that you record a history because if you don't record the date, how are you going to know when they're due another call? So let me go back to my groups for a minute. This is a group called Customers Never Called. I'm going to click on Add Remove Contacts to show you how to create the criteria. I'm going to say Edit the criteria. The first criteria that's important is the ID status. In the ID status, I want it to be equal to, and I hit the letter E twice because I knew equal to would pop in there. I'm going to hit the Tab key, and I'm going to say Customer. And if I click on the drop down, you'll see I have Customer right in there. And I'm going to add that to the list. I'm going to click Preview. Now in this database, we have 56 customers. The next criteria I want is I want to say the last reach. And I'm just going to hit the arrow key down to scroll through the last options. The last reach is or doesn't have any data. So in other words, it's blank. So I'm going to say does not contain data. And I'm going to add this to the list. So the criteria is the ID status is customer and the last reach is blank or does not contain data. So we had 56 people, but when I click on preview, we'll see that of all these customers, according to ACT, 26 of these customers have never been called. So where's your priority? Is it the priority to call customers that have never been called? Yeah, maybe I think that makes sense. But then after you call them and record that you called, they're automatically going to drop out of this group. So if you go make 5 calls right now, this number is going to go down to 21. Today, as I'm recording this, it's a rainy Monday, so this afternoon, I'm going to be calling some people. It's a good day. I'm inside. I'm doing things. I'm not out traveling today. So this is the kind of group you can make when the mood fits. I always love calling people on Friday afternoons because people are always in a good mood. I don't necessarily want to call them on Monday morning because everyone's just getting their day going. But I might call some people this afternoon. These would be the people I would call first, prioritize. So I'm going to click OK. And that's how I created the group of Customers Never Called. So now I'm going to take this in the opposite level in the next tutorial. Thank you so very much. You have a great day. Be well, my friends.